There we go.
And now it's
All right,
live.
all
Wow.
right, all right. We are live. We are live. And today is Transformation Tuesday. Good morning, Douglas. I see you there. I got your name right. There's Eric. So Eric, I don't think you can see Brian from here. So if you jump on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, you'll be able to see Brian also. I've got the man, the myth, the legend in front of the camera. I feel quite accomplished. All right, just Mara Love, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see what's going on TikTok. Let's see, Carmen. I see JD, Solace Department, Pharaoh Ra Moon. I see you guys rolling in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Denise. Grand Rising. All right. Cynthia, I see you there, my friend. Good morning, good morning. Hey, Sonia. Claudia, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. S. Rich, thank you for the follow. I will follow you back after the live. Thank you so much. Hey, Leisha. Good morning, sister. Love you. Glad to see you found me this morning. Joanne told me y'all were looking for me yesterday. So I'll have to tell you my Monday schedule is different. Let's see. Eric said you are accomplished and highly favored. Thank you, Eric. Right back at you. DeAndre Perry, good morning. You guys are rolling in, and I am happy to see you all. And for those of you on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, we've got a special treat. We've got a special treat. I've got my brother from another mother, Mr. Brian Smart, Mr. Content, aka Dadrepreneur. That's when you have a whole lot going on, you have a lot of names. So there you go. Brian's got a lot going on. And we found each other a few months back on LinkedIn, and we linked up for real. We linked up and formed a real connection, and we formed a virtual family. And I see we're waiting on Jay. Jay's not here yet. Um, but everybody else from the Fam Five I see on. Raheem, so good to see you. Damien, I'm so glad to see you, my brother. Damien, I'm glad that I'm seeing you more. You probably have been active and for some, we just haven't crossed paths, but I know the last couple of days I've had the pleasure. And so I'm excited to see you. Today is our Transformation Tuesday, and that's exactly what we talk about every Tuesday. Transformation, as a tool. How do you actually transform? What does it really mean? So Brian and I are going to dig into that, and we'll start like I often do with the quote. But before we do that, I am going to mute, and I'm going to allow Brian to introduce himself to those of you who are not fortunate enough to already know him. You will know him shortly. So Brian, just whatever it is you want to share about yourself, let me find my mute button and you go ahead and share about you. The mic is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Cassandra. Thanks for making me show up this morning. I think that's what transformation is all about, right? Taking necessary steps to do something different and following through with a plan of action. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Brian Smart, Mr. Content, aka the Dadpreneur. I'm a full-time dad, my favorite job in the world. I am I'm a 23-year UX, UI designer, content strategist, web developer, software engineer. I've written a book about my exploits entitled The Road to Influence, Thought Progressive Leadership. And it's all about my journey as a parent and taking what I've learned as a leader in parenting and discussing my being acknowledged as a leader on LinkedIn and how you can interconnect your family with your business, with your career to build conversations and relationships that start and spark communities and and just keep growing and building, not something from a sales standpoint, but something from a community bond standpoint. And I'm also the founder of Content Creation University. That's where I help uh, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, parentpreneurs, founders, CEOs master content storytelling. And it's so important. Content is so important in this new landscape, this digital landscape. I help these people, I help you master content storytelling to help build visibility and trust in crowded market spaces like LinkedIn and Instagram, Facebook, just anywhere across social media. So that's a little bit about me. It's what I do. Grand Rising, everyone. I see Eric's in the audience,
Eric
Denise,
is here.
Michael. Hello, hello. Grand Rising. So glad everyone could make it on my debut, my video debut. Sandra. And we can't forget Tara. She was really instrumental about
She
keeping
planted the seed for
it.
me. Tara
Yeah,
planted the
yeah.
seed. And I just
Thanks,
I
Tara.
just realized for you guys on TikTok and Instagram, you probably heard nothing for a bit while Brian was introducing himself. But I actually have a guest in the studio with me this morning, Brian Smart, and he was just introducing himself, talking about his background and his book that he has available on Amazon, The Road to Influence. I it may be a little bit too influential at my household because I made the mistake of sharing it with my dad over the weekend, and my dad politely set my book down and started to read Brian's book, and he was into it all weekend long. So there's some good stuff there.
Wow. That's
I haven't
fantastic.
even had a chance to really get into it yet because I had to pry it back from dad. But it is great. Damien said, "Congratulations on your first video live." And maybe this is your second. I don't know if this is your first, but he is not. Yeah, this is his second. Tara turned up the pressure on us last week. I think it was really, reminding him that he should get on. And so I took that mantle and ran with it, and ta-da, here he is. So
That's what you did.
today we are, as always, we're going to talk about transformation. That's always our topic for Tuesday. So let me share the quote with everybody, and then Brian and I will give our thoughts. And hopefully, something that we say will inspire you guys. There will be comments, and we'll get the conversation flowing. But the quote is from Rick Warren, and it's transformation is a process. And as life happens, there are tons of ups and downs. It's a journey of discovery. There are moments on mountaintops and moments in deep valleys of despair. So transformation is a process. And that those mountaintop moments and those moments in the valleys, that's just what this thing called life is made of. It's not a straight line. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down, but there was a quote, I can't remember it exactly, that we talked about maybe a week or two ago. And it was basically about giving thanks. It was on Thankful Thursday, and it was about giving thanks for basically the good things that happen in life. And then it talked about how all the things that have happened to you have brought you to this point. They have made you who you are. And therefore, all things are good things. And we can find something to be grateful for in every aspect of our life. When we're on the mountaintop, that's when, you can, the future looks so bright. You can see far and wide. You're at the top of your game. Everything is going the way you'd like it to go. And then you have those moments in the valley, and we can think about those moments differently. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything's busted, but it does mean that that's a time of reflection. That's a time where the transformation is probably really happening. Things have slowed down, or you're going through something that's more difficult, so you're not feeling that high, but you are learning, you're growing, you're evolving. There's something on the other side of those difficulties as well. But oftentimes it takes hindsight. We've got to get through to the other side to be able to look back and see what the lesson was, what the gaining was from those difficult situations. We've got some more folks that have joined. Albert says, Michael said, hi, Brian. So Michael is my VA, y'all, and he is amazing and getting me organized and getting things going so I can be multiple places at once. He's teaching me how to clone myself. At least my time goes farther because I've got somebody in the background helping me get things done. So I'm glad to see you here, Michael. Albert said greetings to all. Damien said, congratulations. We caught that one. Curtis, congratulations to y'all. Erskine, glorious day, champions, right back at you. Um, Albert says he's here to enjoy the conversation. And Shay says, good morning, everyone. Shay and I have been working together for quite a while now. She's actually rebranding my website. And so you guys stay tuned. We'll be launching the new site soon. And she and her team have done an amazing job upgrading me. They've taken what I was able to figure out on my own and really upgraded it and put got your girl all spit and polished. So I'm excited to be able to share that with you all soon. And let's see, David, great to be here. Thank you, David. We're happy to have you here as well. All right, so let you should I read the quote to you again, Brian, or did you catch it and did it trigger something that you'd like to share?
No, read it one more time. I love hearing when you give those quotes out.
Let's do it. All right. So the quote is, transformation is a process, and as life happens, there are tons of ups and downs. It's a journey of discovery. There are moments on mountaintops and moments in deep valleys of despair.
Yeah, that's
What comes to mind when you hear that? And you guys don't. Oh, my mom just joined. Too bad I'm not with her, so you guys can't get a song this morning. But you guys on Instagram or TikTok, are y'all able to hear Brian at all? Somebody give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or comment something. But go ahead and Brian respond to the quote.
yeah. So you have to. I heard Robert Kiyosaki said a few months ago. I was in one of his webinars, and he made the comment that when you think about business, you cannot look at business from where you are right now. You have to look at business from where you are 5 to 10 years from now. And
So
I
take a pause,
whenever
and I'm going to repeat. I'm going to repeat along with you, Brian, for those on the
go ahead.
other. Oh, I got a thumbs up, so it actually sounds like they can hear you. So go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay, cool. No, you're good. So, I like to think about that a little bit more in depth and not just the number perspective, but what you have to do in order to get where you want to go. You think about 5 to 10 years from now, think about planting a garden. And I think about this all the time because my daughter loves to get outside in her garden and watch how things grow. And each year we plant something new. So this year we planted some squash. And if you know anything about squash, squash grows, the blooms are a little different than, say, with the tomato plant or strawberry plant or blueberry plant. Squash, they are a really aggressive vegetation. So they spread all over the place. And it doesn't look like when the squash is blooming like it's going to do anything. And you're thinking, the same thing with your business. You're thinking the same thing with your personal life. You're thinking the same thing with your family, right? It doesn't look like it's doing much, but you have to look beneath the surface, right? So when you talk about mountains and valley tops, that's what I think about when I think about valleys. I think about what's going on beneath the surface, right? Because you're not able to see. You feel like this is the time of despair. I'm not at the peak level of my game. If I'm down here and I'm in the valley, that means it's over, but it's not over, right? When you're in the valley, it's dark. I think about it being moist. This is the time that you get to yourself and you start to build, you start to reflect on what you need to do, and you get to listen to your creator. You made a few comments earlier about everything happening in a due season and everything working to your good, right? So my dad was a pastor, and I'm a PK. I fought it for years, but it's a fact. And now that I get older, I find myself remembering a lot of what my dad taught me. And it's true. Everything that happens to us works for our good. That includes the valleys, right? Not just the mountaintops, not just when it's going the way you want it to go. Those valleys are imperative to your growth. That's when you're getting beneath the proverbial soil, and you are taking in everything that you need to take in, the nutrients that you need from your creator, from other people, the water, the darkness. The darkness helps you grow. That's when you propagate. Like I said, I'm a huge gardener, big advocate of hydroponics, and that darkness is where your seedlings start. Without that start, there is no growth. So you have to look at that when you're thinking about growing, and don't shy away from the darkness. The darkness
I
is
love it.
part of the light, right? There's no light
Exactly.
without darkness. Yeah.
I love that, Brian. And I've got a little garden of my own. I won't call myself an avid gardener, but that was one of my projects during COVID. We built, my husband and my son and nephew built what do you call the container? Nice wooden U shape. So I've got a lot of space that I can garden in. And as you were talking, some of the same words that eventually came out of your mouth was exactly what was going through my head. I'm thinking about that fertile soil. I'm thinking
Mm.
about, the nutrients that are in the ground. And if we could just, even if it's just for a moment, if we could think about our valley situations like that. I'm in this dark place because I'm being fed. I'm getting my nutrients. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm evolving. That's also a creative space for us when we're in business. That's where we learn. When we're on the mountaintop, we're not really learning. We've ascended to some place and it's more celebratory. Things are happening quickly and you're just going through getting things done. But in order to keep going and to experience that next mountaintop, the valley times are essential because you're refueling, you're relearning, you're being given the opportunity to adjust and integrate new things into your practice. I bet you, Brian, if we go back to your garden analogy, when you plant a different type of seed, you have to make some adjustments. You have to know what to plant it next to versus what not to. What type of light does it need versus all the things that I've grown before? How often do
Mhm.
I water? You're learning in that valley season so that that plant has the opportunity to take root and become strong and become whatever it is really intended to be. A lot of times when we plant something, I planted recently. Me and I actually have some stuff growing behind me because I've got a granddaughter here, and she wanted to. I don't even think some of the stuff we planted is the right season, but it didn't matter. She was interested. I had a bunch of seeds, and I had this little. I've got a light system that we've got behind me, and it was just about allowing her to get her hands dirty, learn a little bit about the process, and it was something for us to to do together. So we've got some real tall uh green spikes that are coming up right now, and she was so excited because she was away for the weekend, and when she came back she could see the product. She could see the work of her effort, something happening, and it was exciting. This little thing had a dome on it, and when I came back from my mom's this weekend and I walked into my office, the dome was dislodged because the plants had grown up high enough that they needed more space, and they had knocked that dome right off the top of itself. And we're like that in our businesses. We start out in these valleys, but as these things start to take root and we get stronger and we grow and we stand up, before you know it, we're breaking through and we're in a new season, and we end up with things that we didn't eat, skills and desires, hopes, dreams that we didn't even know were in there. Those things don't really happen at the mountaintop, because the mountaintop, you are on full speed ahead, you go, you're enjoying, but the learning, the growth, development happens in those down seasons. And sometimes we get so concerned about the dark. We so want to be back on the top of the mountain that we miss the lessons that are waiting for us. We miss the reason why we're in that season in the first place. Steve Worthy said, great perspective, Brian. Kils said, good morning, everyone. Michael, you are the best. Danny, nice to see you here. Vincent, my mom was clapping for you, so I think what you've said is definitely resonating. I think you've planted some seeds, and you
Mhm.
guys, we're planting the seeds, but it's your garden. And if you don't water, if you don't provide the light, if you don't allow those seeds to really take root, they're going to be like some of the seeds. Like some of these seeds we have going back here, they've got a good shot, but not all of them because we didn't plant them in the right season. But if you take care of the information that you share, you guys are responding because something's resonating, right? It sparks something in you enough for you to take the time to do a thumbs up or to leave a comment. So the next step is for you to figure out how that thing that touched you, that gave you a spark, how do you integrate that into your life so that the transformation that you're looking for can actually happen? Because there are things going on beneath the surface. But if you don't take care above ground, if you don't take care of your part, things can just stay right there and never grow and mature into what they could be. So you've got a job to do in this thing. It's great that y'all show up. It's great that you participate. But we talked about this yesterday. The real magic is in, even if it's just one thing, if you get 1% better tomorrow than you are today, you're growing, you're evolving, you're giving yourself a chance to have the life that you desire. But information that's just taken in and nothing is done with it, it doesn't do a lot. It doesn't do a lot of good for anybody, for you or for us as we're sharing. So I want to encourage you. I gave a statistic last night, and you guys may have heard me say it before. 85% of people who go to seminars, they pay all this money for courses, and they 85% of the folks don't do anything with that information. And it is my life's mission to change that narrative and to see more and more people hop out of that 85% and to see the 15% growing. We want to be people of action. We want to integrate what we're learning. Take something. It's not all. We're going to say things that you don't like. We're going to say things that you don't agree with. And it's okay. We're not expecting that everybody is going to agree with everything that we say. That's not the point. But if you just grab something, throw away the rest, grab that thing, that message that was meant for you, grab that and figure out how you can use that to till your soil. What nutrients can you pull from that one thing so that your life is different after the life than it was before? We are always looking for those small, little incremental changes that we can make so that we're consistently growing, expanding, keeping our life on track, and moving towards the things that we really desire. And it doesn't take a grand slam. One base hit is great. We want to celebrate that. So find your base hit today. Find that one thing. Let's see, we've got a lot of comments coming in. Steve said, "Oh, it's great when you can see the fruits of your labor, but we have to do the work. Most of the work is done in the dark." Exactly. And Steve, when hearing you say that or reading that makes me think about the term overnight success. We say it all the time. Man, they just came out of nowhere. They're an overnight success only to us because we were just becoming aware. But that individual that we're labeling an overnight success, the majority of the time, they've been working for years. They've had doors slammed in their face. They've had heard no way more than they've heard yes. And they've worked hard to finally get in the spotlight. And instead of recognizing that, the majority of the people will go, man, I wish I was them. I wish I could just come up overnight. We don't see that they've been working at that dream for decades sometimes. So, yeah, I love that, Steve. Most of the work is done in the dark. I'm not sure who this LinkedIn user is, but they said, wow, gardening. I love that analogy. Also, a sage reminder that just like the variety within the garden, another perspective. We are all different. We all have different requirements and need to thrive. Don't compare. Everyone's transition is different. Thank you, thank you, thank you. LinkedIn user, whoever wrote that, say your name so I can thank you properly. But comparison is the thief of joy. Your journey, whether you do all your work and you pop up as a strawberry, the next person pops up as a squash, someone's a flower, someone's a tree. This analogy could go on forever, but if the strawberry is comparing itself to the squash, it probably feels small and not as significant because the squash grows so much bigger. But oh man, when I bite into that strawberry, it's so sweet. Completely different role to play. The strawberry just needs to be the sweetest strawberry that it could be, right? It doesn't need to compare itself to the squash. So, yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. So, win your journey, run your race. Your comparison is to you. Am I improving over time? Am I doing the things necessary? I may not be where I want to, all you church folks, but thank God I'm not where I was yesterday. I've moved forward. I'm making progress. That's the only comparison that matters. And let's see, there's Harry. Good morning, Harry. Applied knowledge is everything in business. That's right. Knowledge that's not applied, it does nothing. It's great to walk around with a bunch of good data points in my head, but if I never implement them, what do I really have? It's the application, it's the putting the energy behind it that really matters. Lysander says, good morning, everyone. Hey, Jay. So the fam five is in the full effect now. Brian Jay's on as well. Eric, Alicia wrote it. Alicia T. All right. Thank you, Alicia, for that comparison. So, all right. So I've said a lot. I have you here for a reason. So let me mute myself and let you share some more wisdom with everybody, Brian.
Now you make a lot of good points. You said three things that really stood out to me: ascension, season, and comparison. Right? When you think about what you're growing, everything grows in its own season and at its own time. So you can't compare the time that it takes an oak tree to mature to the time that it takes a squash plant to mature, right? Two totally different pieces of nature. And the oak tree is so big, it's so grand that it takes a long time before you can actually see what it's turning into. And you can't get discouraged with what you're planning. So the way I see an oak tree and a squash, it really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. What is your objective? I talk about this all the time. I talk to my kids about this. I talk to my clients about this. And I talk with my uncle about this all the time. What's your what's your end game? What's your definite objective? That's going to determine the amount of time that you have to stay in that valley, right? That's the amount of time that you have to prepare. That's the amount of time that you have to be nurtured. That's the amount of time that you're going to take to grow because you're wanting something bigger than just being a squash plant. Your objective is large. You've got this grand scheme that your creator has given you, and it's going to take a little while for it to manifest and come true. So don't compare yourself to others. Never compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. And the moment you start comparing is the very moment that you start to miss your lessons and your blessings. Never compare. And once you get to the top, don't expect to stay there, right? That's just momentary. That's just for you to catch your breath and head back down because this life is not about pure enjoyment. We're down here for a service, and if you're being of a service, then you got to grow. You're constantly learning, you're constantly growing, you're constantly going through things so that you can share whatever it is that you're going through with someone else, so you can help someone else grow. That's what it is. Seasons, ascension, and comparison. Those three things, when you take that and you put that in the business, then you will be in a much better place to endure and to understand how difficult it is. And it's not just business, this is life, this is family, this is relationships, right? When you put those three things into perspective, everything else starts to become more doable. You can endure, you can endure the race, right? You can keep going because we all got bad times. And you looking at what everybody else is doing and you don't know what they had to sacrifice. That's what people leave out of this equation. It's not just what you have to do, it's what you have to sacrifice. What did you sacrifice to get to where you are? Was it money? Was it relationships? Was it time? There's always a sacrifice, and you have to be able to give up something in order to gain something else. So that's what I'd leave you with, Cassandra. Those are some really good points.
Love it, love it, love it. Ascension, and then there was comparison. What
Seasons.
was the one? Seasons? That's the one in the middle. Ascension, season, and comparison. Love it, love it, love it. What you're saying is really resonating. I think this might be Alicia again. It shows LinkedIn user. It says, yes, each of us were specifically designed for a specific purpose on a specific journey. Our job is not to figure everything out, but to trust the process to reach our journey. Great energy here today. I think that's you, Alicia. I'm not 100% sure, but whoever you are adding to that great energy. And I love that. Each of us were specifically designed for a specific purpose on a specific journey. Listen at all those specifics. There's no accident in the fact that you're here. That you were specifically designed for a specific person. That means the world needs that seed that's planted in you. That seed was planted before you took that first breath. There was something that you were designed to do, and the world is waiting for you to show up in your full potential because you're going to fill a void. You are the answer. You'll hear me say it over and over and over again. Each one of us is the answer to someone else's prayer. Each one of us is the proof that what they're going through has another side, that they will come out and thrive on the other side. Somebody is already in the middle, somebody is just starting the journey that you've already successfully completed. So you're necessary, you're needed. And there's so many of us that actually don't get that. So that was Soyika who wrote that. Thank you so much for that contribution. And Eric said, when you compare, you're missing your blessing and or your lesson. Right. Our blessing and our lessons are in our unique journey. So I can't compare my journey to Brian's journey. Brian can't compare his journey to my journey. But what's amazing is that both of our journeys, even though they've happened in other parts of the world, our journeys have brought us here at this point in time. There is something for us to do collectively now. Stay tuned. It's coming. We'll keep sharing. There's just so many things that when we get together, so many ideas are formed and so much good energy and positive support. And so we know that there's a purpose for us meeting, even though it's only been virtual. And when you open up to the possibilities, when you go into a situation with an open mind and an open heart, and you're just looking for what's there, you're not manipulating it. You're not controlling it. You don't have a specific outcome that you're trying to get to, but you're allowing the energy to come together. You're allowing for the possibilities to form. That's when greatness can really happen. And we've been talking about the fam five. Everybody's here. Denise is here, Eric is here, Jay is here, Brian and I are you guys are seeing us on stage. None of us have physically laid eyes on each other than on a screen, just like we're all doing. But there's magic when we come together. And we're excited about the opportunities to collaborate and what's going to come out of it. Transformation is happening in each of us individually because of what happens when we come together collectively. And our story is no different than what anybody else's story can be. Know that you're unique. Know that your uniqueness is where your power lies. We live in a world where we want cookie cutter. Everybody wants to look and act and talk and be and sound like everybody else. boring. And we miss the opportunity, the beauty of a garden. How often do you go to a garden and you just see one plant? It's the exact same plant over and over again. You may see areas of that, but the garden typically has variety, all kinds of different things. And that's what makes this life so beautiful. So when you find yourself in a position to where you need to be, look, act like everybody else, you're probably in the wrong place. You'll feel it internally. It won't feel right. You won't feel like you're being your authentic self. And anything that takes that away from you is not a place where you want to spend a lot of time. Find a place or create a place where your uniqueness is honored and appreciated. That's where you belong. Those are the people that you need to spend your time with. Let's see what else we've got here. Yes, agreed. The world needs what each of us bring. We go looking all around us for confirmation, only to find it's already in us. Yes, yes. It's everything that we need is within us. Every situation that you have encountered, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter how you will label it, whatever it is, it has prepared you for now. And the things that you're experiencing now are preparing you for tomorrow. You're getting stronger, you're getting wiser, you're evolving. Everything that happens to you is for a purpose, and that purpose is ultimately for your good. And when we remember that, it makes those valley situations easier to get through. We remember that we're there for a reason, we're learning and we're growing. Alicia says, we are all designed for a purpose, which also includes being someone else's deliverance, stronger together. Man, we got some philosophizers. What movie was that? Oh, you a philosophizer now. We have some people who are dropping gems. Soyika and Alicia, I am so glad that you guys are here as well because the knowledge keeps pouring. And that's the beauty of these spaces. Brian and I are not showing up all sage and full of thinking that we have all the answers. We just want to spark the conversation and then collectively somebody is going to say something or type something that's going to be just what someone else needed to hear. That's why I take the time to read your comments as well, because you're reaching somebody that maybe Brian and I could not. Dr. Marcia, welcome, welcome, welcome. Jay said, our individual journey takes us to higher heights, but when we compare, our original journeys diverge. Make sure your passport, here he goes, Brian. He finna drop it. Make sure your passport is up to date because you may not like where you are being led. Come on, Jay.
Come on,
Is
Jay.
your passport up to date? All right. And then let's see. So you could also said this talk has to rank in the top 5 most positive and energetic on LinkedIn. Soyika. Well, if that's true, just know that you contributed to that. And thank you so much for that positive confirmation. Brian and I just wanted to come together, hang out as buddies. And I'm here every Tuesday for Transformation Tuesday. And I used this opportunity because someone was nudging Brian last week about not getting on enough, not being live. And so since I had access to him, I pulled him into my little space because I'm live every day. So we will probably see more visuals of Mr. Content after today because he's fantastic on camera just like he is audio. So we're gonna wrap up quickly because I know Eric's room is coming up as well, and we want to go and support our brother. And I've got work's calling, so we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna read the quote one more time, Brian, and then I'm going to have you give your final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up. I'll be back tomorrow, guys. For when tomorrow is Wake Up Wednesday. On Wednesdays we talk about being intentional. So same time, 7:15 a.m. Central, we'll be talking about wake up the importance of being intentional and things that you can do in order to make sure that you're being intentional with your most precious resources, your time and your energy. Let's see. Eric said, make sure your passport is up to date because you might not like being led. And Jay, that's right. We've got us another Jayism. We need to write that one down, Denise. All right. So let me read. read the quote one more time, and then we're going to get closing words from my special guest today, my brother from another mother. And my mother said, "Great job, outstanding, Brian," is actually what she said. So the transformation is a process, and as life happens, there are tons of ups and downs. It's a journey of discovery. There are moments on mountaintops and moments in deep valleys of despair. And that's Rick Warren. Now, I like to have the quotes to stimulate the conversation and to get us going. But sometimes I may not grasp them in its entirety. And he said deep moments of despair. When you're in the valley, the reason Brian and I are here and we're having the conversation that we're having today is that we want those valley moments to be moments of deep learning, moments of deep reflection, moments where you're getting the lessons, the nutrients that you need in order to keep the journey going and get to your next mountaintop experience. So not necessarily, I'm not claiming for you or for me that those valley moments have to be moments of deep despair. Look at them, because mindset can determine if we're in despair or if we're in a different place. So I'm asking you to look at those moments where you're in the valley as opportunities for growth and learning and refueling and all those things. They don't have to be despair. Even if something difficult is happening, Eric is a witness. He's going through, what most people would consider despair right now, but here he is cheering us on, still doing what he's doing because he knows that all of life experiences, all of them, bring us to who and where we are supposed to be. So let's see. Dr. Marcia says, "I call that your wilderness experience in my book that is coming on the shelves in Amazon." And Dr. Marcia, if you would, and Brian, the same for you, if you guys would put links to your books in the conversations, and that way, if anyone is interested in getting them, it's easy for them to figure out how to do that. Dr. Marcia, I see yours says it's coming on the shelves. So just give us the information, any information you want to share, so we get the details, and we're looking out for your book title. And if you know the date it's going to be available, we'd love to share that information with the audience. So just a reminder, tomorrow's Wake Up Wednesday. We will be back at the same time, 7:15 Central, for to talk about being intentional. And Eric, we are going to close with your. I'm sorry, Brian. Eric's name just scrolled across my other device because he's starting up his live. We're going to close with your final comments.
So I'll keep it short and sweet. Transformation is about trust. You have to you have to trust yourself, and you have to trust your creator. Right? If you want to become a leader, if you want to become an authority, which the two coincide, you have to believe in what you're doing, and know that everything that's happening is for your good. The creator, whichever creator you serve, doesn't see good and evil, doesn't see good and bad, doesn't see hurt or joy. The only thing the creator sees is definiteness, right? The definiteness in knowing that if you plant that seed, if you nurture that seed, it will grow. That's all, that's all any of us have to rely on. An ant's gonna be an ant, an oak's gonna be an oak, and you're gonna be successful if you nurture that seed. Trust. Transformation is trust. I'll leave you with that, Cassandra.
Perfect way to end. Maysel, I'm probably saying your name very wrong, but I'm so glad that you're here. She said, "Very powerful. I'm glad I joined today, and I will definitely be back." Dr. Marcia says, "I say trust the process and the processing. The processor, trust the processor first." And that's that higher power you were just talking about, Brian. The process, the experience that you're going through, and the processing. I love that, Dr. Marcia. Thank you so much for sharing that. That concludes it for today, guys. We will be back tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. Central. I will be looking for you, and we will talk about being intentional. Maybe we'll have a guest. I don't know. We may have started something. We'll see how the day unfolds. But for sure, I will be back tomorrow. I'm so glad you joined as well, Dr. Marcia. Thank you guys on TikTok and LinkedIn and YouTube as well for joining. We have concluded today, and I will see you all back tomorrow for Wake Up Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. See you in a minute,
You
Cassandra.
too. All right. See you in a minute.